The Trump family is not just any political family. They are perhaps the most famous and controversial political dynasty in the modern world. From the glossy pages of tabloids to the front lines of global politics, the Trump name is everywhere. And standing gracefully at the heart of that empire is Ivanka Trump, the poised, polished, and ever-smiling daughter whom many have called the princess of the Trump dynasty. Behind the flawless public image lies a woman who has worked relentlessly to shape her life, her brand, and her legacy. Whether she's speaking at global summits or celebrating her children's birthdays, Ivanka has carefully curated every detail. In 2009, she married Jared Kushner, a wealthy real estate heir with deep political ties, and their union seemed to merge two powerful American dynasties. Since then, the couple has welcomed three children, Arabella, Joseph, and Theodore, whose lives Ivanka frequently shares in perfectly posed Instagram snapshots. To the outside world, they may look like any other adorable school-aged children, but when your grandfather is the President of the United States and your parents are among the most powerful people in Washington, childhood takes on a different meaning. These children weren't just growing up in a fancy New York apartment. They were raised with Secret Service protection, private tutors, and bedtime stories in the halls of the White House. "I think he's ready," Ivanka once whispered with confidence, watching her husband Jared step boldly into the political spotlight during the Trump administration. Ivanka's own journey began much earlier. Born on October 30th, 1981, as Ivana Marie Trump, she was the first child of Donald Trump and his first wife, Ivana Trump, a glamorous, strong-willed former model from what was then Czechoslovakia. Growing up in the spotlight, Ivanka quickly learned how to carry herself with confidence and charm. She attended elite schools, mingled with celebrities, and graced magazine covers even before she graduated college. In her early 20s, she followed her mother's footsteps into the fashion world as a model, but soon shifted focus to business, a world where her father's shadow loomed large. In 2005, Ivanka met Jared Kushner through mutual friends. The two instantly connected over shared values: ambition, family, legacy, and their relationship blossomed quickly. But not everyone was on board. In 2008, the couple briefly broke up due to Jared's parents' objections, a painful period that Ivanka rarely speaks about. Love, however, had its own plans. The two reunited and, in a nod to Jared's heritage, Ivanka converted to Judaism before they wed. On October 25, 2009, they married in a lavish ceremony steeped in Jewish tradition, surrounded by power brokers, celebrities, and the looming gaze of the press. They have three children, a daughter named Arabella Rose, born in July 2011, and two sons, Joseph Frederick, born in October 2013, and Theodore James in March 2016. Today they are 9, 7, and 4 years old, respectively. Ivanka's daughter, Arabella, was named after two of Jared's grandmothers. Meanwhile, their son, Joseph Frederick, carries the names of both his great-grandfathers. These weren't just names, they were symbols of legacy and remembrance. In an emotional interview on the Dr. Oz show, Ivanka revealed that she had experienced postpartum depression after each of her pregnancies, a reality that many parents across the country silently endure. Before marrying Jared at Madrid, Ivanka made a life-altering decision. She converted from Presbyterian Christianity to Orthodox Judaism. The reason? Jared's parents, Charlie and Cyril Kushner, refused to even meet her unless she shared their faith. But instead of resisting, Ivanka leaned into the challenge. Charlie reportedly made the conversion process deliberately rigorous. And yet, Ivanka succeeded. She not only won over the Kushners, but gained their blessing in the most personal way possible, through faith. Raised in a tightly knit, deeply religious household, Jared's Orthodox Jewish values remain central in their married life. And Ivanka, now Yael Kushner, fully embraced them. She told Vogue that Sabbath observance became a cornerstone of their family's rhythm. From Friday night to Saturday night, we do nothing but hang out with one another. No phones. The couple switches off their phones for 25 hours, from sundown Friday to nightfall Saturday, spending uninterrupted time with their children. To People magazine, Ivanka shared, "We work very hard during the week, and the weekends are strictly for reconnecting as a family. It's very rare that we make plans for Saturday or Sunday. We're just together." On Twitter, she once wrote, Every weekend, I cook Friday night dinner for my family. In that small gesture, the act of preparing a Shabbat meal, Ivanka Trump, once the glamorous daughter of a billionaire mogul, now lives as Yael Kushner, a devout wife and mother navigating motherhood, marriage, and meaning with discipline and heart. At first, Ivanka didn't know how to cook, but practice makes perfect. She told People magazine that she's now a pro at desserts, thanks to Arabella's sweet tooth. Mornings for Ivanka are sacred family time. Her husband and children begin the day together, sharing breakfast before heading in different directions. According to Ivanka, this simple ritual is the most important part of my morning. To make it all happen, she wakes up at 5:30 a.m. every day, allowing time to prepare herself and exercise before waking the kids at 7 a.m. At breakfast, the kids get just two choices: Greek yogurt or oatmeal with various toppings. Ivanka believes limiting their options prevents decision fatigue, a term cited by the New York Times to describe how too many decisions can overwhelm the brain and make even small choices difficult. By narrowing breakfast to two simple meals, Ivanka frees her children's mental energy for more important choices throughout the day. Whether she applies this approach elsewhere in her parenting isn't fully known, but it reflects the methodical structure of her household. The Kushner family also embraces a unique birthday tradition: cooking and eating noodles at home. This custom, drawn from Chinese culture, symbolizes longevity, as long noodles represent long life. The family has shown deep appreciation for Chinese traditions. Their eldest daughter, Arabella Kushner, along with her two younger brothers, has been actively learning Mandarin from their Chinese nanny. In fact, back in 2017, when Arabella was just 6, she became an unexpected symbol of diplomacy, helping promote cultural relations between the United States and China through her language skills and adorable performances. And during President Trump's official state visit to China, Arabella became a symbol of cultural diplomacy. She recited classic Chinese poetry and sang a Mandarin song for President Xi Jinping and his wife during the Lunar New Year celebration. Ivanka proudly shared a video of Arabella singing in Mandarin, playing with a traditional Chinese toy, Sengyuari, alongside her brother. The clip quickly went viral across Chinese social media. People were deeply touched by her effort and sincerity, and Arabella gained a devoted fan base in China. Entire online pages were created in her honor. Outside of their home life, all three children attend elementary school, just like their father once did. Arabella, Joseph, and Theodore are enrolled in private Jewish schools in Washington, D.C. They studied at the Milton Gottesman Jewish Day School, where annual tuition during the pandemic reached $28,400 per student. Like many students during that time, they began the school year with remote learning before returning to campus. The family marked the back-to-school season with joyful photos of fresh muffins on Instagram, a sweet and wholesome tradition. Long before Ivanka and Jared became senior advisors to President Donald Trump, their children were already living in luxury. The family resided in New York City, surrounded by privilege, security, and access to elite education and social circles. Yet despite the spotlight and expectations, Ivanka made it a point to maintain a sense of grounded normalcy for her children. In New York, the family once lived in a lavish $16 million apartment. But when Donald Trump won the presidency, their world shifted. Ivanka, Jared, and their children moved to Washington, D.C., settling into a stately 6-bedroom home worth $5.5 million, just 2 blocks away from the Obamas' post-White House residence. Despite the transition from Manhattan to the capital, the children adapted remarkably well to the change in scenery. They quickly found joy in everyday activities like apple picking, ice skating, and carefree playtime in the neighborhood. Ivanka has always believed that the best childhood memories are made outdoors, away from screens and artificial distractions. She actively encourages her children to play outside and explore nature. Her Instagram is filled with wholesome snapshots, the kids skiing in snowy hills, planting vegetables in the family garden, or laughing at a local. Gardening and cooking are cherished family rituals. It's not unusual to see photos of little Joseph proudly harvesting greens or Arabella helping to bake muffins. These small, grounding moments have helped the children stay connected, even while growing up in one of the most scrutinized political families in the world. Still, parenting 3 young children was no walk in the park for Ivanka and Jared. They faced real challenges adapting to their new roles while balancing careers and life in the political spotlight. At first, Ivanka was adamant about raising her kids in New York, a city full of museums, parks, and endless stimulation. But Washington became their unexpected home due to their roles in her father's administration. And now, with the Trump presidency behind them, the question remains, will the Kushners return to New York? It's very possible, but no matter where they live, one thing is certain. The children's formative years have been anything but ordinary. All three Kushner kids, Arabella, Joseph, and Theodore, were born before Donald Trump became president. The youngest, Theodore, was born in March 2016, just months before his grandfather would be elected to the highest office in the land. At first, Ivanka didn't know how to cook, but practice makes perfect. She told people that now she specialized in desserts because of Arabella's sweet tooth. Breakfast is a sacred family time for Ivanka. Her husband and kids all begin the day together as a family and chat over breakfast before heading their separate ways. This, she says, is the most important part of her morning. To make that possible, Ivanka wakes up at 5:30 a.m. every day so she can get ready and work out before waking the kids at 7 a.m. At breakfast, her kids have only two choices: Greek yogurt or oatmeal with various toppings. This is intentional. Offering only two options helps avoid decision fatigue. According to the New York Times, when people make too many decisions early in the day, they eventually struggle with even simple choices. Ivanka limits her children's breakfast options so they can save their mental energy for more important decisions. Whether she sticks to that routine consistently is unclear. One birthday tradition in the Kushner household is that each family member makes and eats their own bowl of noodles. It's a Chinese custom. Long noodles symbolize long life. The family holds Chinese culture close to heart. Their eldest daughter, Arabella Kushner, along with her brothers, actively learns Mandarin from their Chinese nanny. In 2017, 6-year-old Arabella helped build cultural diplomacy between the U.S. and China during Donald Trump's official visit to Beijing. During the visit, Arabella recited classic Chinese poetry and sang a New Year's song for the Chinese president and his wife. Ivanka posted a video of Arabella celebrating Lunar New Year in Mandarin, playing with a traditional Chinese toy alongside her brothers. The video quickly went viral in China. Viewers found her effort heartwarming, and she gained a large following. Entire fan pages were dedicated to Arabella. When they're not at home, all three children attend elementary school, just like their father once did. Arabella, Joseph, and Theodore are enrolled in a private Jewish day school in Washington, D.C., called Milton Gottesman Jewish Day School. Tuition at the time of the pandemic was around $28,400 per school year. The children started their school year online before eventually returning in person. The family celebrated back-to-school season with delicious-looking muffins posted on Instagram. The Kushner kids have always lived in luxury. Before Ivanka and Jared became top advisors to President Trump, they lived in New York City. Their Manhattan apartment was worth $16 million. Later in Washington, D.C., they settled into a 6-bedroom, $5.5 million home just 2 blocks from the Obamas. The kids adjusted to the move quickly by engaging in everyday activities: apple picking, ice skating, and playing outdoors. Ivanka believes childhood memories are made outside, and she encourages her kids to play actively. She often posts photos of them skiing, sledding, gardening, or simply playing on the playground. Gardening and cooking are favorite family pastimes. Joseph, in particular, enjoys planting. But life wasn't always smooth sailing for Ivanka and Jared. Adapting to life with 3 young children was a challenge. Ivanka originally hoped to raise her kids in New York City, where they'd have access to museums and activities. But her family's political involvement anchored them in Washington. Once Trump's presidency ended, the family considered returning to New York. All of the Kushner children were born before their grandfather became president. Theodore, the youngest, was born in March 2016. But Trump's 2016 campaign meant many of Theodore's early milestones happened in prestigious places, like when he was filmed crawling for the first time on the White House floor, encouraged by his mom and sister. The children frequently visited the White House, turning it into their unofficial playground. They celebrated holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas there, often surrounded by the extended Trump family. Sometimes Ivanka even brought the kids to work. They were often photographed together, always looking picture perfect. But that's largely due to careful planning. In her book, Women Who Work, Ivanka reveals that her time with her children is scheduled down to the minute. She sets dates with Arabella at the library and reads 2 books with her daily. She feeds baby Theodore 2 to 3 bottles and puts him to bed each night. Joseph, who loves cars, has his own quality time with her. These photos might seem candid, but Ivanka's discipline shapes everything. Now we understand better. But there are still moments when her kids' true personalities break through. After all, they're still just children. In one rare, candid moment caught on camera, Theodore and Joseph didn't behave quite so perfectly. As the family was disembarking Air Force One, the 2 younger boys rushed toward the exit. But due to protocol, the Secret Service blocked them. One of the boys even bit an agent's arm, hoping to be released. That brief moment reminded the world, behind the luxury and control, they're still just kids. Capturing the playful nature of her 2 little boys, it's clear they were unaware of the political dealings surrounding their family, but had already grown used to a life of private jets and Secret Service security. There's no doubt Ivanka loves all 3 of her children deeply, but it's also evident that she shares a unique closeness with her daughter, Arabella. Nothing quite compares to the bond between a mother and daughter, and in Ivanka and Arabella's case, it's unmistakable. There are noticeably more photos of Ivanka with Arabella, and one memorable instance is when Ivanka took Arabella to the Supreme Court for a hearing so her 7-year-old daughter could learn about the justice system firsthand. Even at just 2 years old, Ivanka made it a weekly ritual to take Arabella out for lunch, telling people, "That's the most important lunch of my week." Beyond Mandarin lessons, Arabella lived in a carefully crafted world filled with creativity. She took private art lessons, and at home, a piano was placed beside the wine rack where she practiced daily. She also showed a strong interest in dance, particularly ballet. As for her sons, Ivanka shared that Jared was incredibly devoted to them. Ivanka and Jared were no strangers to power and responsibility. They both worked relentlessly, yet made efforts to stay grounded as a family. Ivanka told New York Magazine, "I'm happy for him when he's working late. I know that feeling when you're deep in emails, and it's actually satisfying." In Vogue, Jared humorously said, "Ivanka is definitely the CEO of our household. I'm just on the board of directors." Describing your family life in corporate terms may sound strange, but for Ivanka and Jared, business was in their blood. They lived and breathed it. Sometimes they simply couldn't stop working, even on date nights. My husband's idea of a date night somehow always involves me touring one of his development sites, Ivanka told Vogue. She recalled, "I found myself standing on the roof of a Whole Foods in Gowanus in the pouring rain at midnight while he excitedly pointed out the new property he had just acquired. I was like, oh, so this is why you chose that restaurant for dinner." Even with all their business ventures, Ivanka always tried. However, in order to spend meaningful time with her children, Ivanka tends to run her household like a well-oiled corporation, complete with scheduled play dates, curated learning activities, and intentional bonding moments meant to enrich her children's minds and emotional growth. It's as if every hour has purpose, every moment measured, and yet somehow it doesn't feel robotic. It feels intentional. Motherhood in Ivanka's world is a strategic mission. While her father continues to dominate headlines and provoke controversy with his bold political rhetoric, Ivanka has miraculously managed to remain relatively untarnished. Wow, because she understands the power of image. And she has crafted her own. The image of a calm, devoted mother, a businesswoman who prioritizes bedtime stories just as much as boardroom decisions. Whenever Donald Trump becomes the center of media storms, Ivanka never takes the bait. She doesn't engage. No interviews, no defensive statements, just carefully chosen photos of Arabella laughing or Theodore curled up in her lap. She reminds the world not who her father is, but who she is and who she wants to raise her children to be. The result? A family that looks, at first glance, flawless, picture perfect. But the truth is, nothing is ever perfect. Ivanka and Jared are simply raising their children in the image of how they themselves were raised. Disciplined, structured, and surrounded by opportunity. But now with a more global and modern perspective. Even during their tenure at the White House, The couple never allowed family life to fall to the wayside. Weekends were reserved for the kids. Social media posts made sure everyone knew that. It was a modern political fairy tale, curated down to every Instagram caption. So let me ask you, are you surprised? Have you ever given your child 2 options for breakfast just to avoid decision fatigue? Have you ever scheduled in playtime with military precision just to make sure your child grows up optimized? Is this modern parenting or elite engineering? And more importantly, could Ivanka Trump's children be the future of American power? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you see a first daughter or a future first lady? This is the story behind the smiles, the ballet recitals, and the polished social media posts. It's the making of America's next generation, behind closed doors and under the golden lights of Palm Beach and Manhattan. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to American Adventure, because this journey into power, privilege, and legacy is only just beginning.